Good morning, Bryte Church. Welcome to another devotional. Today I just wanted to read one tiny little verse from 1 John chapter 5:21. Little children, keep yourselves from idols. This is such an obvious thing, such an obvious command. The Old Testament is all about how the people of Israel departed from God, how they followed after idols. It's very easy to understand, but it is very difficult to enact, mostly because the question comes down to, what does keeping yourself from idols look like? It's very difficult sometimes to identify the idols in our lives. So many things can become idols. The question then comes down to, are they idols in my life? There can be so many things that we can pursue that can become idols, but are they idols in my life? And if you can't identify the idol, then I think the best place to start would be to identify the symptoms, to identify the source. Much like you go to a doctor and you say, "Doctor, my leg hurts." That's not the problem. It's a symptom of the problem. Philip Ryken, the president of Wheaton College, said, "Anger usually erupts when an idol gets knocked off a shelf." I would say to you in this devotion that the easiest way to reveal an idol in your life is to see what happens when an idol or a thing that can be an idol gets knocked down in your life. What happens when those idols get knocked down? What are the symptoms of the problem? And oftentimes the symptoms manifest themselves as un-Christ-like behavior that Scripture specifically condemns. So what does it look like when your idols get knocked down? Idolatry of money. We don't often make those idols something that we don't notice. So idolatry of money is often very visible, and it manifests itself. The symptoms of that idolatry are anxiety about the future. Scripture tells us don't be worried about the future. The idolatry of thinking that you have things in control, maybe even being a mini god of sorts to your children, where you say something and they don't do it, and you erupt in anger because, well, my children are supposed to listen to me. Idolatry of self-magnification. And what does that manifest itself in? It manifests itself in not forgiving others. Thinking that how could a person offend someone like me? Like, how could they do that to me? We don't notice that oftentimes, but it is present. Idolatry of self-preservation. The idolatry of self-worth, where we say, I have been attacked, my rights have been attacked, my property has been attacked, I have to defend it, I have to go out, I have to get justice. Jesus says, if somebody asks for your coat, for your shirt, give them your coat as well. They ask you to go 1 mile, go 2. The idolatry of appearances, where you denigrate the sins of others by publicly shaming them instead of privately talking with them. Those are all idols. Those are all symptoms of a disease, symptoms of that have a cause that the symptoms itself don't really, address. Fixing one or the other or the third still keeps the idols on the shelf, still keeps them in their position, and when they get knocked down, it manifests itself. Sometimes there's an earthquake in our life, an earthquake that shakes the foundations of our house. The idols all come crashing down and it becomes too much. It becomes overwhelming. Little children, keep yourself from idols. Yes, these things are sins. But it's very helpful to think about them as idols, to think of their influence in our life, their influence on our emotions, on our actions. We think that their position in our life is more important than Christ-like behavior. And it shows, because what do we sacrifice instead of those idols? We sacrifice our Christ-like behavior. So the question is, what do you see? What do you see when things in life go wrong? Do you see idols falling off their shelves? Do you see sin being manifest itself? Do you see the need and the desire to run to the doctor, the one who can heal all these diseases? Or do you say, no, the problem is with somebody else, the problem is with my kids, the problem is with my friends? Let us look inside so that the anger that manifests itself when our idols are knocked down would be addressed at its root cause and not at the symptom. God bless and take care.